All right, everybody, welcome back to the second edition of the One Hoosiers Take Player Spotlight. Today I'm with Oakland guard Jalen Moore, averaged 17.9 points a game, but more impressively, 8.4 assists per game, the NCAA leader. So getting into it, Jalen, thank you very much for joining me.
Appreciate you having me.
So real quick, I just want to get your backstory straight. So you grew up in Cloverdale, Indiana, which is cool. I really wanted to talk to you a little bit about that because that's actually, I believe, an hour southwest of where I live now. And you're the 11th all-time Indiana high school scoring leader. So scoring's in your blood. And then you go to Oakland now. In your first year, you average the most assists by any player in college basketball. So take me through that process of getting to Oakland first off, because you started at a junior college, correct?
Yeah. So I went JUCO out of high school. I didn't really have many D1s like offer. I didn't have any offers coming out of D1. So I went to JUCO, and then I just narrowed down my list. I had the top five, and I just felt like Oakland was the best fit for me. With their past point guards that had success there, and one of the main reasons was I chose Oakland was because of Kate Felder. He's my height. We play pretty much the same, and he got drafted, and he's playing basketball professionally. He's making good money, so that's why I chose Oakland.
And now that seems to have been a good fit for you. Obviously, you were able to score and assist, and your team played pretty deep into March. You guys ended up making the Horizon League final, and really throughout that game, only one run by Cleveland State in the first half, and you guys were right there with them outside of that. So going into this next season, you guys return your core and you got a transfer coming in. So what do you guys need to do to kind of get over that hump and reach the big dance this season?
I think the main thing is just team bonding. We really didn't have that team bonding last year. I feel like everybody wasn't really on the same page. Um, I think that's the main thing you have to have in the team. If you want to go far, you have to have that team bonding, and you especially have to have everybody happy for each other. I feel like it was too much jealousy on our team. A lot of outside people probably didn't see it, but that's the truth. We can't have that this year, and we won't have that this year. So I think for us to get over that hump and make the NCAA tournament is basically just team bonding, everybody playing together, and everybody being happy for each other, and everybody playing their role really well.
And one thing last year, perhaps that bonding was maybe burden from COVID, kind of making things difficult. Another thing that sort of COVID played a role, you guys were playing on back to back nights against the same team. So could you talk just a little bit about kind of that experience? Because one night in particular, I believe against Robert Morris, you played 50 minutes. Game goes into double OT. You got to play the next night. So sort of take me through that game planning, because this team sees you back to back. That's got to be tough, and also your recovery. I mean, you as a point guard, you're running up and down. Basketball is a physical game too. So take me through that a little bit.
Oh yeah, COVID definitely. I would say it set a lot of people back this year. If you look at people's like shooting percentages, I think everybody's dropped really. A lot of people couldn't get in the gym, and I think that's where the team bonding comes in play. We couldn't do anything as a team really. I mean, we went to the gym. We couldn't even get in the gym at first. Um, we went to the gym, and then we would go back to our apartments, and we really wasn't supposed to do anything outside of that. But yeah, seeing each other back to back nights is really tough because you don't have time to prepare for something that they did. If they did something really well, you don't have time to prepare. So like we would be in a hotel room, just trying to go over things the next morning, and then 6, 7 hours later, you playing a game. So it's a definitely a lot, especially if you're playing a lot of minutes. It's a lot of wear and tear on your body. But I think I'm built for that. I think I'm in really good shape. Um, I think it's all just a mindset thing. If you tell yourself you're tired, then you're tired. If you tell yourself you're not tired, then you're not tired. So I think it's all just a mindset thing, putting your mind to it. Just going out there and perform at, the best of your ability.
You mentioned mindset, how that plays a huge role in your game. Do you ever show up and just know that it's your night? And you had many good nights. I mean, 14 assists, two turnovers, 12 assists, two turnovers. Those were a couple games. And then you had 14 points, 15 assists against Milwaukee, and of course, a triple double against Detroit, and then followed it up with a double double the next night. So, do you ever walk into a gym and say, all right, I got it? Or is it, I guess pretty much you bring it every single night, but are there any times where you know that tonight's going to be a good night?
I think just me being confident in myself, I feel like every night's my night. Me being very confident, I feel like I can score the ball whenever I want, and I feel like I can get somebody open whenever I want. Um, and it all just comes down to putting in the work. I put in a lot of work, a lot of time on my game, working on my craft. I watch a lot of film. I study a lot of film on like Trey Young and good point guards like that who have success at the next level. But I think it all just comes down to putting in the work and believing in your work. Anybody can put in a lot of work, but you have to believe in it. So I believe in myself. I believe that I belong at this level, and I believe that I'm one of the best players in the country.
Absolutely. Now, I was going to bring up sort of your similarities to Trey Young, and that makes sense how you watch film on him. Sort of similar game plans. You're a good outside shooter, and of course, you dish the basketball out as well. And you sort of have that swagger to you, like Trey Young. Just talking to you, it seems like, and watching a little bit of your game film. So, when you're watching a NBA player like that, what sort of you looking for? Are you looking for how they attack certain defenses, or sort of their
Yeah.
game plan and how they create shots? So, what are you kind of trying to pick up from Trey Young and any other players that you may watch?
So I have a breakdown on synergy of all of his film, all of his games. I have all his ball screens breakdown, all his assists breakdown, all his made threes broke down, all his fouls drawn broke down. Have all of his turnovers broke down as well. So basically, I'm just studying every aspect of him. Um, if you're studying everything on him, then I mean you can pick up a lot. There's a lot of details that when I'm watching film that I look at. Like I look at a lot of his footwork stuff. How he attacks the ball screen coming downhill. And one thing that I've been working on a lot this summer is my floater because he uses his floater really, really well. And if you see guys in the NBA that have success at point guard spot, they're using the floater like John Morant, Trey Young, Mike Conley. They all have really good floaters. So basically, I just have everything broke down, and I'm just studying his game day in day out.
Now, would we ever see a bow out of you after a big dagger three this year? You gonna take a bow to the crowd? I guess we will have fans this season, so if you're ever getting chirped, you could implement that too.
Yeah, I might have to do that. It all just depends on the mood. I mean, really.
Now, speaking of crowds, I wanted to touch on this. So your performance, I'm going to go back to high school now because, like I mentioned, I'm also from Indiana. Um, and against Greencastle, I think it was what your junior or senior year. And I think it was the county tournament. You're playing on Greencastle's floor, and you put up, I think, over 50 points. So take me through that. I mean, as a high school player, your points per game went up. As a freshman, you averaged just under 5, and then nearly 19 as a sophomore, 27 and a half as a junior, and then the third highest point total on average as a senior, as an Indiana high school senior, at 36.8 points per game. So, do you remember that game or any game in particular as your high school career went on? And how is Indiana as a whole sort of shaped who you are today as a basketball player?
Yeah, I remember that game. It was my senior year. I believe I had 49 or 50. And I remember like the last play I was in, I went up for a layup. I was gonna try to dunk it. And like my leg gave out and then I missed a layup. And my dad was like yelling at me in the stands. He was like, "What are you doing, man?" And I'm just like, "Man, we winning by like 15 or 20." So, but yeah, um, Indiana basketball is basically, and a lot of people argue, say, which such and such state's the best basketball, but I honestly believe Indiana basketball is the best state. Not just because I'm from here, just because that I've seen other states basketball and it's not the same as Indiana. So I feel like coming out of Indiana, um, there's a lot of competition in Indiana. So you have to bring your A game basically every day. And I feel like that's always stuck with me throughout my college career so far.
Yeah, and with that, as Indiana is such a premier high school state, and you, like I said, hold these records, did you feel a little disrespected coming out of high school and not really getting much attention from D1 schools? And do you continue to sort of play with that chip on your shoulder as you continue now and eventually maybe have a professional career?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like um, I was basically undervalued as a player in D1 coaches' eyes. I didn't want to go JUCO, but I really basically screwed myself over. I didn't have any choice because I waited to the very end to take my SAT, and I didn't pass it by like a couple points. So I basically screwed myself over. But there was no D1 coaches that were on me heavy, like we're gonna offer you if you pass it. So um, I went JUCO, and Coach Burr is from Olney, who's at UIndy now, assistant coach. He recruited me at Olney. He was my coach there for 2 years, and he came to, I think, like 13 or 14 of my senior year games. So he really wanted me, and I could tell that. So I mean, if you really want somebody, you do anything for them, to get them there. So and then I seen that as him as a coach driving hours each week, driving hours each week to come watch me play and letting me know that he really wants me. And and I give a lot of credit to him. He gave me a lot of freedom at only to play my game, which he told me he was going to do, and he kept it real with me. He kept his word. Um, but I'll always have that chip on my shoulder, um, just by being a smaller point guard. I feel like everybody looks at me like he's too small. They were saying that in high school. He's too small. He's not playing nobody. That's why he's scoring so much. But I mean, if you put me up against anybody, I'm gonna go right at him. I think everybody's seen that this year. We played the big time schools. I don't look at them as no big time school or big time players. I look at them as another person. It's the same person as me because you're no different than me. You don't put your shoes on no different. You're not special. So I mean, I don't care who you are. If you put any NBA player in front of me, I'm gonna give it to him. I mean, plain and simple as that.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that confidence. And going forward, I think that that will be really important for you guys. Like you mentioned, you have that bond. It'll be stronger this year. Just in general, again, one game away last year. What can we expect from Oakland this season? Are you guys poised to make a run, like you said, more chemistry? And with Oakland, obviously they were on you. Did you have any other influence? You mentioned your only central coach. How about any other influences? Oakland coach or any coach? Your dad, like you mentioned, was at your game against Greencastle, and I presume many others. So, just number one, what can we expect from Oakland this season, and any influences to help you throughout your second season at Oakland?
What you can expect from Oakland is, we had a really bad start. I believe we were 0-9. We're not going to start like that again. And not making no excuses, but I think COVID played a lot of part in that because We were out 3 weeks due to COVID, and then we only got 3 practices in before we went to Xavier. And we played Xavier, and we got embarrassed. I mean, plain and simple, we got embarrassed. It was really bad. I never been embarrassed like that before. Um, but it's a marathon. It ain't no sprint. So, um, and all those games, we had like 5 games within like 9 days or something like that, 8 days. I mean, it was crazy. So, I think we'll have a way better start than what we did. And, I think that we'll pick it up from the beginning. Um, everybody knows each other's game on our team. We have a couple of new players, and I think that they're going to fit in just perfect. I don't think we have any selfish players on our team, and I believe everybody's going to be all in and accept their role and play their role to the best of their ability so we can win a championship. Um, and influences, I would say just my dad is a major influence on me. He's my biggest critic and he's my biggest cheerleader as well. So I mean, I take a lot of advice from him because he's played at the professional level, he played at D1 level, and he succeeded in it. Um, but I would say, my high school coach, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be in the position I'm in. Um, he sacrificed a lot of family time, just a lot of everything. Um, he would come get me in the morning like 6:30, work me out. After school, he'd work me out, and then later on at night, around like 8 or 9, he would come to the gym and work me out. So I mean, you can't find people like that nowadays. So I mean, you got to appreciate it, while you have those people. Of course, my family my family is a big influence on me as well. My brothers, my mom, just stuff like that. My brothers always talks to me about my game, what I need to work on, because they see it, they see the pro level, what it takes to succeed at the pro level, and they know I can do it, and I know I can do it. My mom always supports me. She always believes in me, even when nobody else has. So those are some big influences on me.
Absolutely. Well, I wish you nothing but the best and nothing but the best to the Golden Grizzlies this season. And thanks for taking the time. It sounds like it's going to be a great year for you guys.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate you having me.